Battlers, I am back. Welcome to another episode of the United Podcast Match Rewind Edition. Or when it comes to hard work, battlers, and getting the job done right, none do it better than our great mates at A+ Contracting and Polywelding. Just like our mighty Newcastle Knights leave it out on the field every single week, A+ Contracting brings that same level of dedication to the mining and civil projects industries. They are the experts you need for professional, cost-effective, and comprehensive contracting services. They do the hard work, battlers, so you don't have to. Well, battlers, another big show tonight. That's right, with the Newcastle Knights hosting the now top of the ladder Canberra Raiders. Ricky's Raiders came to town, and you know what? They got stuck into us quite early, got off to a little bit of a handy lead, but it was a bit of a tale of two halves there at one point. The Newcastle Knights, somehow, we still stayed in the fight. We stayed in the fight. We were manning a comeback. But then adversity hit us, and it hit us straight in the face with our boy, our captain, our superstar fullback, Kalen Ponga, ruled out. Plenty to talk about there. But the boys did well. They kept fighting. They were in it. Unfortunately, a little, too late with the Raiders walking away with the chocolates in that one. But look, plenty to sink our teeth into this week in that game. Not only that, plenty of United news coming out this week. So lots to talk about there. We'll be taking a look at your LGB Marine Titanium Forge Player of the Week. I'll be giving you my United Paycat Players of the Week. Some blokes who absolutely earned their pay, as well as answering some of your get out alive fire safety training burning questions. So battlers, sit back and get ready as we take a look at the Adam O'Briens announce of this week's game against the Raiders. Let's go. All right, first things first this week, battlers. This one hits close to home. Now, we all know it's beanies for brain cancer around this week, and it's so good to see the whole rugby league community and just the community in general get around this great cause led by our boy, Mark Hughes. Now, huge shout out to Jamie. You know who you are. You've probably seen him in the comment section under the alias of Kayla, his partner, the Newcastle Knights.
Sorry, Michaela.
Michaela, what did I say?
Kayla.
Sorry, Michaela. Sorry. Huge shout out to Jamie and his father, Jamie Sr. The Newcastle Knights doing their thing and looking after our boys. Had the boys down at a captain's run there. Danny taken through a tour of the Centre of Excellence, presented him with a signed jersey with all the boys on it. So unfortunately, our boy Jamie Sr. diagnosed with terminal brain cancer. So this one hit really close to home. So I'm sure there would have been it would have been very, very bittersweet to see so many people get around such a really, really worthy cause. And this one hit really close to home. So I've been in touch with Jamie quite a bit throughout the week. So this one goes out to you, brother. So I'm glad the Newcastle Knights got around you, mate, and gave you boys a really good weekend. So first things first this week, going out to you boys. So first things first, brought to you by our good mates at Newcastle Mixed Martial Arts, which was Newcastle's, Lake Macquarie's, and the Hunters' highest rated mixed martial arts gym with more than 350 Google 5-star reviews. Beginners are welcomed into their safe, inclusive, and most importantly, battlers fun training center. Head coach Jess Landry's experience includes being directly trained by UFC veterans, as well as under the wrestling coach of the Sydney Roosters. Newcastle Mixed Martial Arts is centrally located in Cardiff, right beside the Cardiff train station. All right, offering day and night classes to kids, teens, and adults, including Muay Thai kickboxing, gi, and no-gi Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and mixed martial arts. So make sure you go book your free trial right now by visiting their website at newcastlemma.com.au.
I'll just chime in here, Lincoln, on the markhughesfoundation.com.au. It said, in what can only be described as a roaring success, a staggering 130,000 Mark Hughes Foundation beanies were sold in their 9th year.
Wow.
And they raised $3.5 million.
Awesome work. Well, I know that in the commentary they were saying today when I was watching the games, sold out. Good luck getting your hands on one. Good luck getting your hands on a Mark Hughes Foundation beanie. The only ones you could get your hands on were the years previous. So absolutely killing it there. So that's massive. What a sensational effort. So good to see the NRL getting around it. The Battlers certainly getting around it. So that's absolutely huge. Absolutely huge news. So good on you. Good on you guys. We killed it. All right. Battlers, if you're loving the show, or even if you're not loving the show, I don't care. If you're a hater, you're going to like and subscribe to all your United social media platforms. Wherever you're wasting your time on, Battlers, I can guarantee you we are there. My face is on your screen somewhere on that platform. So make sure you're doing that. If you're watching the live stream, give it a big old thumbs up. All right, give it a big old thumbs up. Takes you 5 seconds. Really does help get it out there to more and more battlers that might be struggling with the Newcastle Knights at the moment. So leave it a big old thumbs up. And if you're listening to the podcast, give us a big old 5-star review. Now, another giveaway time, battlers. That's right. If you don't know, now you know. Your boy is giving away a copy of the new upcoming Rugby League 26 game. It's not going to look as good as this one that I personally designed. Nathan Cleary has been decided to be the face of Rugby League 26, but I feel it's my duty. I might do some alternative covers for you guys to maybe download, and you can cut up and put in your own little holders. But that's right. I'm giving away one copy to a lucky battler, and this is all you have to do. All right, you're going to go find the pinned post either on my Facebook or Instagram page. You're going to smash that like button like Ezra Mam smashed in an Uber. Then you're going to go tag 3 people. I don't care if they're family members, friends, or even your mortal enemies. Just tag them in the post. And then all you need to do is go onto our YouTube channel and subscribe there. That's it. That's it. Dead easy. All right. Winner's going to be announced, I think it's July 15th, which will be the roster review show on the podcast. So I'll be calling out one lucky battler again and then reaching out to get your details. So whether you're a PlayStation guy or an Xbox guy, to pick your copy, but whatever it is. So make sure you go in the running. It made it dead easy for you guys. Dead easy. So everyone's absolutely stoked. Getting a lot of buzz at the moment, the Rugby League 26 game. So make sure after the show you go ahead and do that. All right, let's do it. Let's dive headfirst into this week's Night of News. We've got a bit to talk about this week. Heartbreak, battlers. Absolute heartbreak. That's right. Newcastle Knights season just spiraling after this game at the moment, it would appear, with the massive news. Our boy Kalyn Ponga leaving the field in the 60th minute with a foot injury, and we're all just sitting there going, oh my God, can this not be what we think it is? And unfortunately, battlers, it's been confirmed Kalyn Ponga has succumbed to another Liz Frank injury for the second time. This isn't the same foot, so he's had Liz Frank injuries on both feet. That is absolutely just terrible news. Last year, ruled him out for 12 weeks. There's only 10 games left in the regular season. So it is going to be an absolute race against the clock. The rehabilitation on this injury is going to be huge. Given that we've already got Razor, God knows when we're going to get our boy Razor back, our two most, integral part to the attack of this team, for a team that's struggling, has struggled for a period of times. It's sort of coming a bit better, I feel, but for the longest period of time, to lose both these guys for such a huge chunk for the back end of the season, absolutely massive. So it's going to be a big race to the clock. I don't know much about Liz Frank injuries. It'd be a bit weird if I did, but whether there's different kind of grades to it, if you can get one that's better or not, I haven't heard. I think they're always going to be quite a lengthy period of time on the field. But yeah, 12 weeks last time. Only 10 weeks left in the season. So it's going to be an absolute race to the clock there for our boy, Kalyn Ponga. So, devastating news. Absolutely devastating news. So, all right, let's move along. Now, the transfer market is well and truly heating up. That's right, the June 30 deadline right around the corner, isn't it? Mere hours away, really. And here we go. So, Paul Bryan, we all know Paul Bryan played that, I think it was round 12, 13 game, whatever it is, against the Panthers, dislocates his shoulder, hangs in there, tough bastard. Anyways, he's been ruled out for the remainder of the season after succumbing to that injury. He was offered a 2-year contract extension, which he's knocked back, which we talked about a week or so ago, which we found very perplexing indeed. But it would appear that his time at the Newcastle Knights is done. One game, and that is it. He is off to the Seagulls in a swap deal where we will receive Jacob Arthur for the remainder of the 2025 season. Now, this one isn't that bad. I know it's been blown up. I put out that post with, our boy Adam O'Brien as Thanos collecting all the bloody Infinity Stones, which are the Arthurs. But when you got to think about it, it's only Jacob Arthur is only contracted for the remainder of 2025. So for a team that's got a shitload of injuries at the moment, in those key areas. He's a guy you can bring in. And let's be honest, Paul Bryan wasn't going to be playing another game for us. He's out for the season anyway. So not only you're bringing a guy in that's healthy, he wasn't going to be sticking around anyway. So when you put it in that context, because I know a lot of people are blowing up going, what are we doing? What are the Knights bringing in Jacob Arthur? Well, again, when you're losing Paul Bryan, who's not going to do anything for you beyond this season, and he can't do because he's injured, if you can get something for him, why not? Why not? So sucks because he was a guy. It was it was a bit touted on Paul Bryan. I know a lot of us were excited to see him when you saw him named on the extended bench or whatnot, but wasn't to be. He's going to be now the enemy, the mortal enemy that is the Manly Seagulls. So best of luck to Paul, and let's see what Jacob Arthur's story is going to be at the Newcastle Knights for 2025 battlers. So expect an announcement for that very, very shortly. Now, look, some guys who we have now, the speculation has ended. Peter O'Sullivan is unequivocally said that our boy, the sweet potato, Adam Elliott and Jack Hetherington will no longer be at the Knights past season 2025. There is no future for these boys. Both of them coming to the club in 2023. Yeah, so again, there was a lot of noise, a lot of smoke around these guys' futures at the club. Well, it's been absolutely confirmed by our recruitment manager, Peter O'Sullivan, that yes, their services will no longer be required and we will be moving on. So comment away what you make of that. I'm going to miss the sweet potato. He was, I didn't mind the sweet potato when he was on. I feel like he's, we'll get to it, the lock forward position, but I certainly don't mind him as a bench forward. Jack Hetherington, on the other hand, he had his moments, I thought, but I feel like we've got some younger guys that are coming through that I feel we need to secure and start to develop there. So you let me know, though. What do you think about Adam Elliott and Jack Hetherington moving on from the club at the end of the year? What do we keep getting asked every single week, Lou? Who are some forwards that are we going to try and bring into the club? Or what's the situation with the forwards? Well, we're going to get to that. We're going to answer some of those questions right now. But our boy Elijah Salsa Lamoana has extended his stay at the Newcastle Knights. That's right, until the end of the 2020 season. After making his debut back in round 14, he's done enough to impress the Knights coaching staff. He's inked an extension, which is fantastic news. Again, very early into his rugby league career, but it's been some really promising signs, hasn't there, from what we've seen from Elijah. Shifted from the back row into the middle, I believe, throughout this season in Cup. I think he's played every single Cup game this year too. So nice to see a young guy rewarded. I'm pretty sure we got this guy over from New Zealand in 2022. So, yeah, stoked to see a young fella secure his future with the club till 2027. So you can guarantee, you can probably think he's going to be in our top 30 moving forward for young ESL. So one to watch, one that'll be featuring plenty, I'm sure, in roster review and match rewind shows in the future. But another guy, battlers, that the Newcastle Knights, another young guy that we pulled the trigger on him, are bringing to the club. That's right, Lachlan Crouch from the Cronulla Sharks signs a 3-year deal with the Knights. Now, the Sharkies very reluctant to let him go early. The Knights would love to have their hands on Lockie right now, but we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the deadline's right around the corner, so be interesting to see if we get our hands on him early or not. Young 22-year-old, he started his junior career in East Maitland's Griffins, believe it or not. Local boy, progressed into the Newcastle Knights pathway system and winning the Harold Matts Premiership back in 2019. 191 centimetre, 105 kilo prop. Quote, described as a hardworking prop with consistently high statistics. So huge shout out again to our boy Lockie over at Newcastle _Knights_juniors. He's right across these guys. If you haven't done so already, go across, give him a follow. I've got to get Lockie on. We were talking about maybe doing a collaboration show where we'll do a little bit of a deep dive into the pathway guys and peel the curtains back on some young talented players coming through. Sort of talk about him before they make their first grade debut. So he's one to watch out for. Lockie spoke really, really highly of this guy. Again, the Sharks reluctant to let him go. So that means only good signs. So, again, very young, yet to make his NRL debut, but a couple of young promising forwards coming into the mix. I know it's not the big, marquee prop that everyone sort of licking their lips, but you can see the Knights are starting to make a few little moves in the background there. So Yeah, Lachlan Crouch coming to the Newcastle Knights in 2026 thus far. All right, that'll do it for the Knighted news this week. Let's do it, Battlers. Let's sink our teeth into this Friday night clash that I got to watch with my good mate, Jesse. Shout out to you, Jesse. Definitely made the loss a little bit easier. We sat back and we gasbagged for hours. I must have rewatched this game from the side. You know when you're chatting away and it's just playing in the background. I reckon at least 5 times. It just kept going over and over and over. I don't know why I did it to myself, but sinking beers, having a good old time with Jesse. It was a good night's watch. Definitely makes it a little bit easier. He's a good winner, Jesse. He didn't sort of rub it in my face, which was nice. So, but yes, all right, let's do it. The Newcastle Knights going down to the Canberra Raiders, 18 points to 22. Now, looking at this game, Battlers, statistically, very, very evenly matched teams. Very evenly matched teams. Now, let me bring up some of the statistics here. Now, for the Newcastle Knights and Canberra Raiders, split down the middle, 50% possession. Completion rate, 80% for the Knights, 83% for the Raiders. 207 runs for 1,947 run meters for the Knights. 190 runs for 1,963 for the Raiders. So very, very close there. 5 line breaks to 4. 605 post-contact to 644 post-contact for the Raiders. 30 tackle breaks to us, 39 for the Raiders. Look, the list goes on and on. We were so evenly matched. On paper, you could see why this score was. But there was one glaringly obvious statistic that unfortunately that they really, really used against us that I'm going to touch on a bit. So just put a pin in that for the moment. All right, but look, let's start it off. The Newcastle Knights, plenty of opportunities in the red zone early on. I think in the first 10 minutes, we had 13 tackles in their red zone, but it came pretty apparent pretty quickly. We just couldn't ice the moments. The Raiders gifted us so many chances. We just couldn't ice them. Some moments there, some just really poor fifth tackle options there. You had KP trying to do a big goal cutout pass to Schiller. That just went absolutely nowhere. Again, you had Cogger trying to pass the ball out to Best. It just hit his foot and went out. Schiller gets caught on a fifth tackle play, which was nothing was happening. He has to just put the boot to ball and it just goes fucking sailing out. KP throws one out. Again, it wasn't the best pass in the world, but Gag kind of gets hands on it. He drops it. There was just so many occurrences where we just couldn't quite ice our moments really early on. And I'm wondering if, and you let me know, I'm wondering if, and this is, I'm not trying to by any means say, either of these guys played particularly poorly, but I'm wondering if perhaps maybe the introduction of Jackson Hastings in the mix with Jack Cogger might have just upset the apple cart a bit where you got, two really, let's be honest, both of them are 7s. Both of them are ball dominant type players. Jack Cogger plays 7 week in, week out for the Knights. Jackson Hastings obviously was a 7 in first grade, but then he's playing halfback also for the New South Wales Cup team. So I'm just wondering, maybe that indecision, I don't know, just wasn't as slick. Maybe just having those two guys out there. It's only an eye test. I can't say that it did happen, but I'm just wondering maybe if you had a guy, if you looked on the flip side when you saw Jamal Fogarty and Ethan Strange, well, you just knew this was Jamal Fogarty's team. He's the one doing all the organising and Strange is just playing off the back of that. I'm just wondering just maybe that crept into the game a bit, and that's why we saw it being a little bit clunky, which was super unfortunate. But, one thing that we really did do well, we absorbed a lot of pressure early on from the Raiders. Kept turning away. You got to remember, this Raiders team is on top of the ladder for a reason. They're across all metrics, they are dominating. Great defensively, great in attack. I felt really early on, we kept turning them away. That Nitanium-filled defense was doing its thing. It was doing its thing. But, it was just, much like where we weren't capitalizing on our opportunities, the Raiders absolutely did in the first half. Whether it was just off, some line breaks from offloading, which we're going to get to very shortly. Jamal Fogarty 40-20, or it was just errors from our own end, gifting them prime field position. They made us pay. They always made us pay in the first half, whether it was repeat sets or scoring points. yeah, that was the different dynamic between the two teams in the first half. You know, it was very end to end, pretty similar, but the Raiders just took their opportunities and they just iced them far better than we did, which is really, really unfortunate there. But yes, going back to now, what I was saying about the stats were very, very, very similar for both teams. But there was one statistic that stands out more than the others, and it's the ineffective tackles. The Knights making 23 ineffective tackles to the Raiders 9. Now, the offload game. The offload game was absolutely killing us in the first half. The Raiders having a lot of joy. I think at one point there were 7 offloads to 1. They were really gathering a lot of momentum, and they were getting points off the back for that. So, you know, the Knights just effectively just not being able to wrap up the ball carrier. The examples of that, you know, Kaya Week. So when the Knights started, we started pretty well. I felt like we were the more dominant team. We certainly had more of the field position, but that changed the moment. I can't remember who it was. It might have been Tarpon. Got a really kind of messy looking offload to Kaya Weeks, and he just did his thing and weaving in and out of defenders and got that huge line break. And then we were on the back foot, and they just camped us down there for so long. That was a real big, obvious one there. And then you had Zach Hoskins up on the right edge, you know, gets jammed in there by Brady Best, and then Dylan Lucas comes in. None of those boys managed to get the ball carrying arm wrapped up. He just pops up. Kaya Weeks, he just strolls through untouched. And Simi Sasagi on a short side raid for Ethan Strange also. So just these ineffective tackles, unfortunately, really plagued us in the first half. We sort of got a bit better in the second half, but boy, oh boy, they just absolutely killed us. You know, if that was one area we could really tighten the screws on, it would have really gone a long way for us, because, you know, when you're having to constantly scramble in defense, you know, you got a disjointed defensive line. It's just adding so much fatigue to your defensive line and constantly retreating there. So the Raiders did a really good job of that second phase play on the Newcastle Knights, which really, really sucked. But kudos to them. They were on point. Again, there's a reason why they're top of the ladder. This is why I'm kind of, a loss sucks, but when you're going toe to toe, let's be honest, and you're statistically matching it with the Raiders, who the Raiders played good. I don't think there anyone sitting there watching the Raiders played poorly at all, you know. And I think a lot of other teams in the competition certainly wouldn't have had the result we had. I think the Raiders play the game they do against a lot of other teams. They beat most other teams by more than 4 points. I can guarantee you that. One thing that was really, really disappointing, a lot of the, what was I saying on the roster review show was the Achilles heel for the Raiders was the kicking game, the high balls and contesting those. We started really early. Jackson Hastings put one up for Dominic Young. I think he had 3 in the first half. Jed Stewart coughed it up a couple of times, and then Jacko put a nice, really good kick in between Stewart and Kaya Weeks there. Got the repeat set, which was really nice as well. But then we kind of went away from it to the point where, you know, they were really ineffective. And I don't know if the boys just, again, going back to what I was saying about having 2 dominant playmakers in there, if that just added some uncertainty in the guys sort of weren't all on the same page. But how many times did you see these kicks and they were either 5 meters too deep, or the kick was probably put on a dime? It was really good, but the kick chase just wasn't there. A midfield bomb Cogs put up. No one running onto that. And same with Dominic Young. Dominic Young had, unfortunately, one. I don't know what happened that last play that he had. I don't know why he didn't just attack that football. Who knows what could have happened at the end of that game. So, yeah, that was a bit funny. I don't know what was going on there, because I felt like if we execute that quite well, there's probably another try or 2 in us. So that was a bit unfortunate to see. So I don't know what was going on there with regards to, chases on kicks, kicking game being a little bit off in that regard. So that wasn't great. But what was really pleasing, again, it was a little bit of a tale of 2 halves. The Knights come out in the second half. You know, the Raiders still played pretty well. They got that huge line break again down that right edge. But, you know, the left edge, boy, oh boy, did the left edge just come to life. First 20 minutes of the game, you know, when KP's there, really unlocked Brady Best and James Schiller. You let me know about James Schiller. There were so many people up in arms about James Schiller, but geez, he's a very Sean Kennedy-esque type player. You know, it rocks and diamonds. A lot of people I saw saying he was our best and worst player on the night. But rewatching the game, I certainly don't feel he was our worst. He had a couple of Barry Crocker things about him, but boy, oh boy, did he get to some work, and he was dangerous. But it was nice to see the team rally around and get some points without either Kalen Ponga or Fletcher Sharp in the team. So that was actually really nice to see. I was actually, looking at that game going, we're not playing against the bottom 4 team. We're not up against the Titans or someone like that. You're going up against the Canberra Raiders, and we're looking really dangerous. We started getting the upper hand there, and we're starting to come back quite a bit. And again, that left edge, boy, oh boy, did it light up. We were absolutely tearing them apart there on the left edge. Both those boys making huge meters towards the end of the game. And yeah, the Raiders, as I said earlier, I feel like the Raiders probably dominate most teams in that regard. I feel like the Newcastle Knights, I'm really not too disappointed with that performance. Rewatching the game, I know it sucks you want the win, and there was a couple of little things. Had we iced our moments better, but I know it was, the ladder's still relatively close. We're not out of touch with it. But, the fact that we went down 4 points to the Canberra Raiders, I feel like you can take a lot away from that. You can take a lot away from it. What's the comment section saying, Lou? A lot of the battlers are a bit disappointed and pissed off with that performance, or are they proud of the boys, or?
Matthew said, we also need to compete in high ball. Surely it can't be a thing not to compete. Look at Katoa from Melbourne and Nanai from Cowboys. I can't say
Halasima.
Yeah, from Warriors. All back rowers competing for the ball and scoring tries regularly. What's that tell you?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't know whether it was. Yeah, I really don't know what was happening there. It was a bit disappointing. Some of the kicks just weren't executed quite well, or you just had no chases on them, which was really disappointing, because I'm sure that would have been a game plan of Adam O'Brien's. That was going to be the Achilles heel, particularly Jed Stewart up against Dom Young. I would have liked to have seen a bit more of that going on, but wasn't to be. But, we did mount that comeback. We did, regardless of, more so attacking kicks with the ball through the hand, we did really, really well. So, look, let's jump into it. Your Nitanium Forged Player of the Week. Let's kick it off with this bloke. Brady Best picks up his second Nitanium Forged Player of the Week, back-to-back. And did you know, Lou, soon to be dad? Shout out to the Best family and Brady, expecting their first little one in January too, which was nice to see.
The best news.
The best news. So he'll be absolutely stoked there. I think the article was saying Dadman Best.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, that was a good one. All right, Brady Best. What's he got here? 80 minutes. He's got the one try. So he's 22 runs for 216 run meters, 87 post contact. Got the tackle break there, 2 line break assists, 2 offloads, 11 tackles, 6 missed. I know not all missed tackles are created equal, but he's got the 6 missed tackles there, and the 1 error. Yeah, he was absolutely enormous. I tell you what, given this bloke's current form in back-to-back games, he's got to be the unluckiest bloke not to be picked for Origin football. I know the New South Wales team is getting selected tonight, so let me know when the team drops. Keep an eye on that for me, Luke. Drop it in the comment section, Luke, because I want to read out the New South Wales Blues team in the burning questions segment. All right, we'll get to that.
I've had some comments come through, and I've tried to look for it, but Luke Sports and Newcastle Jets fan said Riley Jones to the Sharks immediately.
Ooh, Riley Jones to the Sharks. Okay, yeah, I could see that his future with the Knights probably wasn't going to be much longer. He hasn't sort of featured. I couldn't tell you the last time he played first grade. Riley Jones, boy, oh boy. Well, there you go. Well, there you go. Breaking news: Riley Jones off to the Sharks, effective immediately. The player transfer market's heating up. This is why it'd be so good to have a trade window. How good would this be, Battlers, if you had a trade window where we could just talk about this stuff?
It's already dropped.
Oh, it has dropped. All right, there you go. We're going to get to that in burning questions. We'll do a little bit of a New South Wales Blues thing there. So, all right. Yes, your Nitanium Forge Player of the Week, Brady Best, as I said. I don't think he's going to be named. We're going to get there. But boy, oh boy, some of the numbers he's posting up. Origin caliber player. Let's be real. Back-to-back games of 200-plus run meters. Absolutely dominant. Absolute handful there. You could see every time they shifted the ball left. I think Ricky Stewart's butt cheeks were well and truly clenched at that point. Just devastating ball runner. So powerful, so strong. No surprise he picked up your Nitanium Forge Player of the Week. So, yes, your Titanium Forge Player of the Week brought to you by LGB Marine, the experts in building resilience on and off the water. Just like the toughest structures they construct, this week's player has been battle-tested, unshaken, and built to withstand anything. LGB Marine, strength, precision, and resilience. So,
Freddie Best has been listed at 20.
ooh, has he?
Yeah.
Wow, that doesn't surprise me at all. What was I just saying? I feel like he'd be the unluckiest player in 2025 if he's not in the Origin team. Well, there you go, 20. Yeah, it's hard to argue. Some of these performances, holy shit. If he played a month of football, putting up this stuff, he would have had such a strong case against Latrell. Like he's the best specialist left center in the comp. He absolutely is. But anyways, let's move along. To my Knighted Players of the Week, brought to you by Paycat. Payroll made easy by a crew in Newey who know their stuff. Whether you're paying the boys on a construction site or sorting out that tricky Shads award for your NDIS biz, Paycat makes it dead easy. They back hundreds of businesses and even help an NRL club keep their payroll running smooth. You can run payroll yourself or get the Paycat team to do it for you. Either way, you'll have more time to crack a cold one and watch the footy. Let's take a look at some blokes who earned their pay this week. And yes, I'm in absolute agreement with you, guy. Brady Best was immense, absolutely huge in this game. Yeah, really tough, Gary. Sparked a lot of attacking football down that left edge. It was a huge catalyst for that. So, yes, he picked up my 3 points this week. 2 points. Now, this is a game we're not looking at and going, there's a huge, huge highlight package, but Phoenix Crossland. Now, coming into the roster review show, I was talking about maybe the biggest disparity this week was going to be the forward packs because, the Raiders, they have got some absolute dogs in that forward pack. Joseph Tarpany, Corey Horsburgh, Josh Papali'i, and you got Mariota coming off the bench, Morgan Smitties. That's a big, tough forward pack they got. And I feel like the Raiders forward pack were largely neutralized, which is a fucking tough job because we had our boy Phoenix out there doing his thing. He was fucking immense. He was so good. You go back and rewatch that game. Some of the work he was doing in defense, boy, oh boy, absolutely huge. I think his penis dropped off within the first 5 minutes. That's going to be a record. He was just doing some work. What's some of Phoenix's stats here? If it'll slide across for me. Phoenix Crossland, obviously 80 minutes, 9 runs, 77 run meters, 12 post contact, 2 tackle breaks, 55 tackles, 4 missed. Again, not all missed tackles are created equal. There were a couple I noticed he was just trying to get his body in front of a player that was broken through the line and just slipped off. Those things unfortunately count. It wasn't like he was getting beaten in contact. He absolutely wasn't. He was absolutely immense. The fact we're not sitting here talking about these massive, huge performances by Tarpanay and Horsburgh and Papali'i was largely on the back of what Phoenix was doing. Those guys still played really good games. Don't get me wrong, but they weren't just like blowing us off the park. How many times this year have we seen, much weaker packs take it to our forward pack and just dominate us through the middle? I just thought Phoenix got through so much work, and it's just incredible to see. Here we were in 2023 thinking, wow, Phoenix Crossland has found his place. He's going to be a number 9. He's going to be a number 9 for a long, long time. Well, I think that's changed again. I genuinely feel now, I think he's a 13. I don't think he ever goes back. I think long-term, Phoenix Crossland will be our lock forward. As we said before, Sweet Potato no longer at the club. I think they found their guy. I thought he was a great link man in the middle too. Looking the goods. Really loving what I'm seeing. Mobile. He's that. I explained it earlier last week, but in the modern era of rugby league, you need those guys that are attacking upside. He's got a bit of ball playing about him. Well, he's certainly a far better ball player than Adam Elliott, and I feel like he's just as tough and steely in defense, probably more so. I've always said Adam Elliott's a guy that's about that bit of starch, hence the name Sweet Potato in the middle there. But Phoenix, I had to give him 2 points. I thought the fact that the Raiders didn't really, Tarpanay and those boys didn't have massive games like they do against other teams. Yeah, he was huge. And our boy James Schiller, and you're thinking, Linc, where the fuck's Kalen Ponga? Why didn't he get a point? It was very close this week. Kalen Ponga nearly got it, but James Schiller, we aren't anywhere in the conversation of winning this game hadn't it been for James Schiller. He was huge. He was immense. Look, let's go through it first. James Schiller's statistics for this game. He was our leading run meter. He was the big meter eater. Obviously bagged the 2 tries there, 18 runs for 257 run meters, 58 post contact, 6 tackle breaks. He's got 4 line breaks to his name, 2 offloads, 1 tackle. He's got 4 missed there. And he's got 7, not 7 errors, 1 error. Now, look, there were a couple of things to his game where you're sitting there, like, for instance, when he caught that ball and gets the set restart, then awesome. Start the second half. Raiders come out firing there, get the set restart on the 20, and then bang. Tommy Starling just rips it out of his hand. And thinking, oh, James, you do all this good stuff, and then this stuff happens. But I certainly feel it was a game where his good far outweighed his bad. You let me know. I'm going to be so interested, Lou, to see what the comment section says about James Schiller, because I've got plenty of messages about him. But you got to give it to him. He's a great finisher. He's fucking strong. There was a couple of times there he kept the play alive. He still did a really good job of keeping the ball alive. There were so many times where he could have just taken the tackle or, whatever. But, he got the offload in or cut back in and found a support player, keeping the ball alive, which ultimately kept the momentum running. And then the plays preceding it, we scored off the back of it. So huge shout out. I thought Shills was really good. Again, he's a player he's not a complete player yet. He's a little bit rough around the edges, but I ultimately feel there is a great player there. I really like what I saw from James Schiller.
Absolutely. He was everywhere.
Absolutely. What are the battlers saying? Is there much comments? I feel like you're either on one side or the other.
Just a lot of Hastings hate.
Jacko Hastings hate. Well, let's get onto that because ultimately, look, the Newcastle Knights, we beat them in the second half. We outscored the Raiders in the second half. All right. Now, the super unfortunate part of the game, yes, Jackson Hastings coughs his lollies up right pretty much in smack bang in the middle of the field, and the Raiders go down and score off that play. Now, look, it's super unfortunate because ultimately, when you kind of look at it, yes, they were the only points they scored in the second half. And, ultimately was the difference in the end. But all in all, going back and watching the game, I don't think Jacko played all that bad. He ran really hard, which, credit to him. I didn't think he had that in him. Even watching back to the Roosters game, I thought he put his hand up, ran the ball quite hard there. Kicking game wasn't too bad. Could have been better, but again, he got the repeat set and that there. I don't know whether it's, again, going back to what I was saying about maybe 2 dominant 7s, if that's going to maybe be an issue. But yeah, again, it was super unfortunate play. Hadn't Jacko made that one error, I don't think people are sitting there like absolutely bashing him. I really don't. It's just super unfortunate. He would be absolutely kicking himself for that play.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, it does suck. It is what it is in that regard. But apart from that, you might think I'm a bit biased towards Jacko. I really didn't think he played all that poorly, to be honest. Like, let's be real. We went toe to toe with the Raiders. So were either of their halves playing at their absolute best? Probably not. But I thought for a guy that's coming, he's only second first grade game. He's been out of the team for a long, long time. To come in, I don't think he did too bad. The right edge really didn't. It was only through getting some other guys who were on the right edge. Jermaine McEwen, boy oh boy, 8th NRL game, bags his first rugby league try, which was nice to see. Just a nice little dive from dummy half. Again, must be a guy full of confidence because cast your minds back, it was off the back of another James Schiller line break. And then I don't know what he was thinking, but the KP gets the ball, shifts it out to Jermaine. I'm sure the play was to get it out to Cogs to try and kick the ball or just throw some shape at him on that on our right edge. But then for some reason, McEwen cuts back in, nothing going, puts in a grubber kick, play dies, happens, whatever. But the guy must have a bit of swag and confidence about him because he's gone, no, I'm going to tuck it in myself and I'm going to go for the line here. And, kudos to him. He got it. Jermaine McEwen. So I think we're all thinking he's probably going to be the dude to get that right edge back rower spot vacated by Kai Pearce-Paul next season. I thought he still had a pretty darn good game, Jermaine McEwen. What are some of his stats coming off the bench here? For our boy Jermaine, 32 minutes played, obviously bagged the try, 9 runs for 80 metres, 23 post contact, 3 tackle breaks, got the 1 line break there, 17 tackles, 2 miss. So obviously played a bit larger of a chunk of the game when KP goes off. Gag shifts back to fullback. And then, a bit of rejigging there. Kai Pearce-Paul goes to centre. And then, Jermaine McKeel fills in for the remainder of that game on the right edge there. So I thought he did really well. Dane Gagai. It pains me so much every week that goes on. I'm seeing him play why the Newcastle Knights do not want to keep this man in the building. Not only has he just been super competitive, he's a great goal kicker. Now he's just re-emphasized how versatile he is. I thought he did a really, really good job at fullback there. Was an absolute hand in the last try scored by James Schiller there, linking up with Brady there on the left edge. Every game that goes on, I'm more and more befuddled as to why the Knights just don't. One more year. I don't understand. Mate. There must be a vision that they have in their heads, but I don't get it. He is playing some fucking good football. Again, if the Queenslanders had one or two injuries, he is absolutely in contention to go back to that Queenslander spot too. You can't tell me his performances would have been that far off what Brady's been doing. Like, let's be real. He was absolutely awesome as well. So, but yes, to sum that game up in a roundabout way, the Knights obviously had a lot of opportunities early, didn't ice them. Fifth tackle options were really poor, lacked a bit of polish at the end of sets there. The Raiders, unfortunately, whether it's through line breaks, offloading, or 40-20 plays, or coming off errors that we gifted them, they just capitalised on those plays. And for a long period of time, we were absorbing a lot of pressure. They had a shitload of tackles in our red zone, and we kept pushing them back. A lot of other teams, as I was saying, would have cracked far earlier and conceded far more points. So, again, props to our defense to hold the Raiders to 22 points, given how much opportunity they actually did have. And then, second half, no KP for a quarter of that game, and we rally. We score more points without Kalen Prong on the field than when we did, weirdly enough. We rallied back, a bit of a comeback. Unfortunately, too little, too late. If they had a couple of other little plays had gone our way, who knows? We might be staring at a different result here. But all in all, of all the losses this year, this one doesn't sting anywhere near as much as the others. I felt like, going against the Raiders, this one we should take a lot of confidence if we can go toe to toe with the number one team in the comp. We're going to play some top four teams. If we can take away at least that from us and go, boys, we fix up a couple of little things there. The defense is sorted. The defense is rock solid. We don't need to do anything there. It's the attack. Got to get that iced, capitalize on our opportunities, and we can go toe to toe with some top four teams. But it's going to be very interesting without Kalen Ponga there. So, but yes, all right, let's do it. Let's jump into this week's burning questions brought to you by Get Out Alive Fire Safety Training. If you work in a business, battlers, chances are you are probably not prepared for fire or emergency. So make sure you get in contact with the fine folks at Get Out Alive Fire Safety Training, because if you do not learn, you will burn. All right, what have the battlers got for us this week, Lou?
Did you have a voicemail to play?
Oh, I did. It was actually more of a summary from our boy Crisp. So let's. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Let's listen to our boy Chris's opinions of the game.
Hi, Linc, Lou, and battlers. Just my thoughts from the game on Friday. Tough loss. Really tough loss, that one. I thought we played really well, actually, in the game. Just those chances we didn't take in the first half when we had a fair bit of the ball in their 20-metre area and couldn't convert. I think that's just been our Achilles heel all year, that. And that's a mistake from Jacko where they led to that runaway try with KP just being out of position because he just injured his ankle. That was the difference, I think. I think if KP didn't get injured and stayed on the field because he was starting to carve up, I think we win that game because he was actually looking really good in that second half. Just unfortunate with the injury again. But we gave it a good crack against the team running first, the Raiders. I mean, every other team they've come up against I don't think they've played as well as we did under adversity. So, on to the next game after the bye. Hopefully we can recover from these injuries. I wouldn't mind seeing Fletcher Hunt have a crack at fullback again because I think he's proved that he can play there. If not that, maybe give Conovatano a chance and see how he goes. Anyway, that's all, guys. Thanks.
On you, Chris. He makes a really valid point. Not only it was a super unfortunate that Jackson Hastings coughs the ball up. It was, whilst Kalen Ponga was injured, and he wasn't in the back at all. So had Kalen Ponga be there, I can pretty much, you would say with all confidence, he shuts down the play. And the Raiders don't score off that. But, yeah, super unfortunate there. It's going to be very interesting couple of roster review shows to see who they come in. I think it's been reported Fletcher Hunt is basically the guy they're going to be plugging in from some stuff that I've read. So I think he's the guy that's in the box seat to get that job. Maybe Gags. I don't know. Do you shift Gags back there and maybe play Fletch in centers? Who knows? But yeah, anyways. But no, that was a pretty good summary, Chris. I'm hoping that's the vibe. I hope people aren't sort of too disappointed. I know everyone wants a win, but yeah, a lot of adversity going the way of the Newcastle Knights, and to go down by 4 points to the team coming first, given some of the other performances we've had this year, I think we've turned a bit of a corner with that game.
Alrighty, Tony's asked, when do we cut the cord with KP? Starting to get sick of his injuries. Put Fletcher there and pay him properly.
Oh, geez, yeah, this is going to start rearing its head. Yeah, it's been super, super unfortunate regarding injury, hadn't it? 2023 was through concussion. Then you had 2024, Liz Frank injury, and now 2025, another Liz Frank injury. Mate, this noise is going to get bigger and bigger, isn't it? It's super unfortunate. It's not Kalen's fault that obviously he's picked up these Liz Frank injuries, but there's going to be, much like Jaden Brayley, people are going to start getting miffed with these long-term injuries to the guy that's played the most. He's paid the most. You want him to try and be out there as much as possible, don't you? But mate, I can't let our boy KP go. As Chris was just saying, mate, had he stayed out in the field and hadn't been injured, he might have honestly been the difference. He was really starting the heat up. Once that momentum was going our way and we started getting on the front foot, KP was just slicing to pieces on that left edge, dude. But yeah, there's going to be more noise about it now with Kalen Ponga injured. They're going to come out for sure. Let me know. Comment away. What do you think?
Brent asks, do you think Crossland's best position moving forward is ball playing 13 or hooker and using Maddie as an impact player off the bench next year?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Phoenix Crossland will be our starting 13 moving forward. Now, hooker, talk about sliding door moments, because when I had Jesse here for the Night's Watch, I'm like, you've got Owen Paddy, who's going to be, I think a lot of us think he's going to be a future Origin player. He's a fucking gun hooker coming through. They've got Tommy Starling, and now they've got Jaden Brayley. So they've only extended Tommy Starling not that long ago, and Jaden Brayley. Tommy Starling playing some great football. He was really good for the Raiders on Friday night. So I think, well, there's only 2 spots there, and you got 3 really good hookers there. How's that going to work? I'm wondering now, given the form Jaden Brayley's been playing in, had the Knights wished to go, shit, if we kept Brails around and then had Matty Arthur come off the bench, keep him around for a bit and develop Matty Arthur, and then you're shifting Crossland into 13. I'm wondering now if just by chance it wasn't even by design, it was by accident that Phoenix Crossland has just stumbled into the 13 rather than going, wow, this guy's actually really good in a couple of games he's played there. He's killing it. Had they wished they just maybe they kept Jaden around. I know he's had his injury concerns, like Tony was saying about KP, but I'm really liking the football we're getting from Jaden Brayley. If you looked at one of the plays there, I thought he's got some stuff going. He immediately identified the overlap on the left edge there. Dylan Lucas, he was trucking nut there. I think he's 4 defenders, gets a quick play the ball, and then you got Brady, KP out the back, and Shills, and then he just spots the overlap. Boom. Straight to KP, tips it on the Schiller, untouched. He had some really nice touches. Jaden Brayley, I thought. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Well, we haven't got a hooker. And speaking of that, Talon De Silva, who we were talking about on the roster review show with the Knights, very interested in his services. And then there was even chatter about a swap between KPP and Talon De Silva. Now, I think it's been confirmed that KPP put a squash to that. He did not want to do a move mid-season. So that ended that, and he's just signed a 4-year deal with Parramatta. So maybe Matty Arthur now, his stocks have really risen. He's now maybe a guy we have to look at really starting to develop, and he might be the starting hooker next year without Brayley, and then you got Crossland playing 13. Matty Arthur comes right into the picture now. So wait and see.
Paul said, when I see that jersey, I think Danny Wick's running 60 meters against the Roosters.
I think that jersey was, mate. It's just off camera here. I think that was the 2008, the nod to the Rebels, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was that game, 2008. Unless I'm thinking of a different game. I'm pretty sure that's the jersey you might be thinking of. This jersey, it's the year after. I've got 2006. It was the game, the most amount of rugby league points scored in a game. It was like 70 collective points against the Raiders of all teams back in 2006. So nearly 20 years ago. It was like something over 70 collective points scored in that game. It's huge, huge. Away jerseys, I wish the Knights played predominantly red. I loved it. I love it more so than going to white. I wish they'd go back to this color scheme.
Carly's asked, is Fletcher Hunt able to just slot into the team if he's on development contract? He's played 5 games already and will be limited, I thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the rules around who can do what on development deals and that. I know if he plays 10 games next year, he's guaranteed a top 30 spot in that new contract that he inked with the Knights a few weeks back. But yeah, you'd be pretty confident that he's going to feature quite heavily moving forward. Let's just hope Fletcher Hunt has those games like Razor had when he sort of came in, and Davey Armstrong, and those boys filled in when last year when KP was absent for quite a bit of time. Let's hope Fletcher Hunt comes in and does a job there for us too.
Jamie said development means they can't play until round 10.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right, because that was with Cody Hopwood. I think there's something. There was another player. A lot of battlers were asking about development deals and why they hadn't featured. Yeah, you're right. It was after round 10. You're right.
Matthew said, with Jack and Matt Arthur at the club, do you think Brad Arthur will come over as well?
Yeah, well, I don't know. The Knights playing 4D chess, I should say. Is that what they're doing? Are they thinking, well, we'll get both the boys here. Brad may come. Because, yeah, Brad Arthur didn't lead the Parramatta Eels under bad circumstances. I've said it a couple of times. I just feel like it was the same old message from the same old coach, and they needed that circuit breaker. And it's much easier to change a coach than to go change, 30 blokes in your roster. So I still think Brad has he's going to be coaching in the NRL sooner or later. Where we don't know yet. I thought he looked like all but a shoo-in for the bloody Perth gig, but Mal's got that one. So I don't know. I saw a lot of comments from people saying, they just want Brad Board in as a coach. So I'll have to have a chat to some of the Para boys. I'll get on the Troy Para Cave. And so you let me know what was the issues with Brad Arthur and how do you reckon he'd slot in over here at Newcastle?
Christopher's asked, with it looking like Matty Arthur, maybe the starting hooker next year doesn't mean Gamble will be becoming the permanent 14.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because you got the forgotten man, Tyson Gamble. Yeah, possibly, mate. Yeah, I don't know how much hooker he's played though, Tyson Gamble. I don't know. I feel like he might be more of a backup half more than anything. I still think we're going to have to go to market to go get we're going to need another hooker regardless. You're going to need another one to back up, I feel. So that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I don't know too much. A lot of people ask me about Talon Da Silva. I genuinely haven't seen a lot of his football. I know he's highly touted, very raw, but he seems highly talented. So,
were you going to go through the New South Wales?
Oh, yes, of course. The New South Wales team. Shit. Here I am talking too busy gas bagging about the Knights. All right. New South Wales. Here we are. Where is it? It's just popped up. Let's have a look at it. Let's take a look at the New South Wales team for game 3 that Laurie Daly has announced. Kicking it off. All right. Dylan Edwards, Brian Toto, Stephen Crichton, Latrell Mitchell, and Zach Lomax for an unchanged backline. Let's hope that Zach Lomax has been absolutely kicking conversions non-stop ever since game 2 because that was hard to watch. Jerome Luai and Nathan Cleary named in the halves. So the old Penrith connection linking up once more there. Reece Robson, Payne Haas, and who was it? Payne Haas, Liam Martin, Angus Crichton, Isaiah Yeo. For the forwards, unchanged there. Connor Watson, Spencer Leniu, Huddy Young, and Stefano Utoikamanu keeps his spot. That's surprising. With Lindsay Smith, Jacob Kiraz, and Brady Best. on the extended bench. Wow, Stefano kept his spot. Okay. I didn't think he did enough to keep it. Do you know, I was thinking, had he had a really, really big performance, I still think he went all right, JSAP, when he came back and did what he was doing. If he had another one of those 200-plus game performances, I thought he would have been right in the frame once more. But, it's always been a bit of a dig the Queenslanders have had on the New South Welshmen is we don't pick and stick with guys. Coming from a team that dropped their fucking captain after one game, but we won't go there. But yeah, okay. So that is unchanged, right? Am I reading that right? I don't think he's changed one thing from my memory.
Yeah, I think that was saying it's unchanged.
There you go. Completely and utterly unchanged for Laurie Daly. So I know there was a couple of injury scares with, Nathan Cleary didn't look fit in his game this week. Brian Toto, there was something going on with him too. So, yeah, good to see. They'll fucking smash them, though. They'll absolutely smash them. They're not going to get the fucking leg up Ashley Klein gave them over in Perth. I can guarantee you that.
Here's a stat we need to look into from Tompy. How many wet games have we played this year compared to dry games?
Oh, jeez.
It's mostly been wet games.
It has been. That's what, I'm glad you brought that up, Tompy, because I did have it in my notes for it. It was nice to see the handling. What were the handling errors this game? For a wet game, Tompy, thank you for that segue. Let me take a look at the errors. 10 errors to 11. So that's not bad. For a wet old game of football, the Newcastle Knights pushing closer to 20 in a lot of games this year. So to only have 10 against a really, really good team in the wet, not bad. Not bad. I'm glad it wasn't a glaringly, obviously, a point we were looking at. And when we did turn over the ball, some of the times, obviously, you had the Jacko Hastings ones, which really hurt. But a lot of time was just, in the red zone and just, if you're going to turn the ball over, I guess that's where you do want to turn it over. You don't want to gift them field position. But, that's not bad. That's not bad. But God knows where you'd find that statistic, Tompy. Couldn't tell you.
Mike's asked, what's the strongest side you could put together made of currently playing former Knights?
Oh, geez. A lot of them in that Raiders team. Where we had, you got Simi Sasagi, try scorer. Zach Hoskins. He didn't play for the Knights, but I think he was in our system at least. Tommy Starling. Joe Tarpanay. He didn't play, but he was in the system as well. Huddy Young, their leading try scorer. Shitload of them, mate, coming into the Raiders. It's all unfortunately it's always a bit of a joke how many, in the past, how many quality Knights players they've slipped through the cracks of the Newcastle Knights, like Boyd Cordner, Latrell Mitchell, those sort of guys, highly talented players that weren't identified quick enough and went elsewhere to go on to have really, really good careers. But let's hope that's fixed up. Mate. But it would be a fucking strong team, Mike. It would be a very good team, I'd imagine.
Will's asked, if Mazu is good to go next week, would you play Schiller at fullback over Hunt?
Nah, I don't actually think Shills has played any fullback, bro. You're going to need a big motor. I know he's probably got the physicality. I don't think he's played any fullbacks. I think you'd be going Hunt, dude, at fullback. But even Gags mightn't be a bad shout either, though. If you're just trying to squeeze everybody in their preferred position, I don't know. Don't be surprised if maybe Gags gets a nod. It'd be interesting to see how he would go. Maybe over 80 minutes might be a different question, but
Christopher's asked, do you think the Knights should have went harder for De Silva as now he's going to the Eels?
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know much about him, bro. I know there's a lot of buzz around him. The Eels giving him 4 years. I wonder what we offered him. I don't think it was ever disclosed what sort of contract we offered him. Maybe it was a really good deal, and the Eels maybe chucked on another year, because 4 years for a guy that's played as little NRL as he has, that's a big commitment. That's a big old commitment there. All I know about him, he's got impeccable eyebrows, which I'm getting done tomorrow, aren't I?
Yeah.
I'm getting the old eyebrows fucking trimmed up. And why do I get my nose fucking waxed ready for this wedding?
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez. Not the back crack and sack too. You haven't surprised me one of them, have you?
No.
Hey?
Oh, we'll see.
Oh, shit. All right, couple more.
Justin's asked, how long do you think it will be until we see Cody Hopwood make his debut in first grade?
Yeah. Well, it's going to be – I think it'll come down here, mate. Let's hope we're not in those territories. If the rugby league calculator comes out and we're out of contention and you've got guys like Sweet Potato and Hetherington that obviously aren't going to be featuring long term, maybe you use those opportunities just to try and get some games into these younger guys before the 26 season. But Don't know, man. He had a really good knock for the under-19s Blues last week, scoring a try there. He was one guy for the Blues that was killing it. So going to be exciting prospect, Cody Hopwood. I think next year will be, obviously, we're going to see far more of him.
Bailey's asked, have you ever thought bringing Dylan Brown to the show?
Oh, mate, we actually had his manager reach out, his management, saying he thought it'd be a really good idea to break the ice with the Knight supporters to get him on a show. Just a bit of a, one-on-one, get to know Dill Brown and, break the bread a little bit and just talk about, just a bit of a, what would you call it, like a soft introduction, just a nice way to get his, to show the battlers who he is. A little bit, peel the curtains behind Dill Brown. So wait and see. There was something they wanted to do with us maybe in the new year. So stay tuned. We might be getting our boy Dill Brown on, but we'll have him on one way or another. He's going to be here a long time, so I'm sure over the course of that decade he'll get on the show, mate.
Hanks asked, if you could pick a song for the boys to run out to, what song would you pick?
Oh shit! Fuck, that's a good one. Man, what would I pick? It'd be something. It would probably be something too heavy for most people. I've never understood how you go to the gym and people get all pumped up, and some of the music they listen to, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, how's that sort of psyching you up? That's a really good one, dude. I don't know. Have you got one that comes to your mind, Lou? I'm just trying to think something that's
Parkway?
Yeah, a bit of Parkway would go pretty hard. It'd be something like that. It would be heavy, man. And it'd be a lot of people that go, dude, what the hell is this? But yeah, to get the boys fucking amped up and shit, I'd go, it'd be something heavy metal for sure, bro. For sure. I'll have to think about that one. Really good question, though. Put me on the spot. All right. Is that it? We done? All right. Now, battlers, as I said before, if you want to go in the running to win your copy of Rugby League 26, this is all you have to do. You're going to go to either my Facebook or Instagram page. You're going to go like that pinned post, the giveaway post. You can't miss it. It's right at the top. I pinned the bastard right at the top for you. Now you're going to tag 3 friends, family members, mortal enemies, fucking what, I don't care. Whoever they are, you're going to tag them in that post. And you're going to go toddle on down to our YouTube channel and you're going to smash that follow, like button, whatever it is. All right. And then you're in the running. It's that easy. It's that simple. Why wouldn't you do it? And you're going to go in the running to win a copy of Rugby League 26. All right. Whether it's PlayStation, Xbox, you let me know. I'll get you a copy. All right. Won't look as good as this sexy copy. Unfortunately, yours is going to have Nathan bloody Cleary on it. But anyways, you're going to get a copy regardless. So make sure you do that and go on the running. You'll be drawn. I think I said it was the 15th of July on the roster review show. So make sure you get them on in. Get them on in. All right, once more, battlers, if you're loving the show, watching the live stream right now, smash that thumbs up button. If you're listening to the podcast, make sure you leave us a big old 5-star review. Really does help. Gets us across the line to more battlers, more viewers, and all that good stuff. So if you could do that, battlers, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Now, next week, I've got a big old break. The Knights are having a week off, and you know what? I need a week off. We need a week off. This shit is... It's intense. So we're taking next week off, battlers. No shows for us next week. But the following week, there's going to be another show added to the roster, isn't there, Lou?
Yep. Yeah, the girls.
Yeah, the girls. The NRL wrap-up, the NRLW wrap-up show, which will be dropping, will be coming to you live every Wednesday. It was a preview show of the NRLW games. So not only am I doing the roster review show on a Tuesday, you'll get the NRLW wrap-up show on a Wednesday, and then you're going to get your Sunday match rewind show and the Knights watch whenever that is too. So keep your ears peeled for that. So another show coming your way with the girls kicking off their season very, very, very shortly. All right, battlers, that'll do us for this week's Knighted podcast episode. Hope everyone enjoys their week off from us. We'll see you guys in a week's time. I'm getting the Adam O'Brien out of here. See you guys later on.